Well, everyone, and welcome to episode 26 of Toolbox Tuesday. It is August 27th, and we will be focused on our rental management solution for today. So, as all of you know, we're going to spend a little bit of time in a PowerPoint, and then we're going to spend a bulk of the time going through the live demo. So, quickly, the agenda that we're going to go through today, we're going to talk about some of the gaps that currently exist inside of Business Central, and then we're going to jump into some of the solutions that we have that are there to fill those gaps. Next, we're going to jump into the live demo of rental management, which Matt's going to spend about a half hour going through. Then we'll go over some of the next steps that you can take in order to be successful with rental management, one of those being a 30-day free trial. We'll also talk about some resources that you can utilize in order to be successful with things like our YouTube channel, our process documentation, as well as some screenshots and some use cases and our product guide that you can take a look at. And then I've got the Q&A down there at the bottom. However, we highly encourage everybody to ask questions, and we'll attempt to answer those throughout the session. So please just use the chat box. Looks like there's already a few people chatting in there, and we'll again attempt to go through those during the session. Looks like Rob can't hear us. Matt, can you hear me? All right. Just
yeah, I can hear you.
Audio is good. All right, perfect. If anybody else is having issues, just let us know. But this should also be recorded, so we'll be putting that out on our YouTube channel. All right, let's start with the gaps. So right now, there's no current ability to track rental equipment and items within Business Central. There's no way to automatically create rental units when purchasing fixed assets. So we'll show you how to do that today. And there's no ability to then take those items, deliver them, service them, pick them back up, and track all of that throughout the workflow, all of which we have solutions for with our rental management solution. So what do some of those solutions look like? The first is going to be the ability to automatically create one or many rental units off of a purchase order when acquiring and posting that fixed asset. So we'll show you how to do that today. You can do it either on the receipt or the invoice. You have the choice there. We can also print barcodes and QR codes for rental tracking. If you want to print those out, slap them on your units. That way you can tag them in, scan them in as you're servicing something, dropping it off, picking it up, all that good stuff. You'll be able to manage that with our solution. The next piece is tracking the current location of each unit or the last known location. So again, if you're scanning it in or tagging it when that's being delivered, it will geolocate it. And then finally, we have the ability to integrate this to our dispatch management tool. We also have it with our distribution control center if you need some pick, pack, and ship functionality, as well as our work order tool if you need to service these units on a weekly, monthly, whatever that schedule is for your work orders. We can manage that through our work orders tool, again, to seamlessly manage the delivery and service. So quickly, before Matt jumps into things, this is the process flow that we're going to go through today. So this is kind of what you can anticipate to see on the live demo. First thing is we're going to set up those rental units. The next piece is we're going to purchase rental units as fixed assets. So not only will it create the fixed asset for you and give you the ability to run all the depreciation, we'll also create those units for you to start delivering, servicing, and picking up from your customers. We'll go through that process on the sales order with the rental units, again, the delivering with the dispatch, finalizing that delivery, and then also creating recurring billing as well as recurring work orders if that applies to your use case, right? Some people may just deliver and then pick up after a certain amount of time. Other people need to invoice periodically for that on a regular interval, as well as service it on a regular interval. So we'll go through both of those today. We'll also talk about how to navigate and complete a work order, one of those recurring work orders that we talked about. And then the final piece, of course, when your customer is done with that rental unit, we'll show you how to pick that up with our dispatch management solution. So Matt, if I miss anything, pick it up in the live demo, but I think it's time to jump into Business Central and show them some of the magic of our rental solution.
Yep. Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah.
All right. So without further ado, always like to start with our setup here. Pretty brief for rental management. Again, we've got a test email address. If you've seen any of our other products, this shouldn't be a surprise to you. This is basically just going to overwrite any customer email addresses as you're going through and testing this functionality here. All right. And then we give you the ability to assign a rental unit number series. So just to assign those numbers automatically to those units when you're receiving them in from your vendors. Right, and then like Ben said, we can either have those rental units be created upon the PO receipt or the PO invoice. In this case, I've got it set to PO receipt here. And then the default work order days, That's going to be the default number of days out that you want to generate that work order directly from a sales order posting. So in this case, after posting that sales order, my first work order will be scheduled 30 days out here. Right, and then just some quick Google Maps API keys, distance URL. Again, these will get automatically populated other than this API key, which you will need to generate. All right, going right into rental items here. So right here in my demo environment, I've got 3 different rental items. So I've got some boxes, shipping containers, and then iPads that I'm renting out to my customers. You'll see here, we've also got this rental item prices tab. So again, in this case, it's a physical unit. So I'm just saying, each piece you rent is going to be a $400 one-time fee. If I wanted to come in here and change this to, weeks, months, years, just to set up different pricing for different periods of time that these are being rented, I would do that in this rental item prices table here. Right. And then if I drill in here, again, so this is going to be the card for all of my iPad rental units. So I've got a description. I can assign an item category if I want 1 unit per each item here. And then just some posting groups, my default sales unit price, default sales unit of measure, default labor. So for anything that I'm scheduling a work order for, I can set that default labor per item there. And then also down here, you'll see my quantity owned, quantity in-house, and quantity on site. So in this case, I've got 20 of these iPads in total. 16 of them are just, at my base location, and I've got 4 that are going to be on site at different customers here. Right. So again, I can drill in. If I had a received location code, I would see that here. I see my purchase price, when it was purchased, who I bought it from, the related fixed asset number. Again, I'll get into that when we go into acquiring our rental items. And then this current customer number, the date that was delivered to them, if we've got an expected return date, and then again, that specific geo longitude and geo latitude that was dropped off on. All right. And then just drilling into the specific rental unit card here. So again, you'll see this is this one specific iPad. I've got my current customer number, when it was delivered. I could go in and pop in when I expect that item to be returned, and then tracking that actual return date once we process that sales return order. Again, like I said, you've got your geo longitude and geo latitude. This is going to be an exact pinpoint of where that item currently is. So again, not going to be based on the customer location, but based on where you actually went in and dropped off that rental unit. Right. From here, I can generate that QR code, like Ben said, and I can also go ahead and print a label for this rental item if I wanted to just, put that label on the item to identify specifically which rental unit that is here. So again, just to preview that here, you've got that general rental item name and then the specific rental item number that I would scan in here.
Looks like we've already got a question, Matt. We might get into this in a little bit here, but as you're going through that, there were multiple rental units on the same fixed asset. Rob was asking about that. So there is the ability when you have that quantity on each is one piece of it, but when we're actually creating the fixed assets, Rob, we can create multiple rental units to be created off of one fixed asset. So if you had 10 units, each unit was $500, the total would be $5,000. However, you could have it individually create 10 units all on the same fixed asset because they're likely all going to depreciate over the same schedule. And you don't want to, if the client doesn't want to set up one fixed asset per rental unit and have that one-to-one relationship, which you can absolutely do if you'd like to do it that way. We find that people like to do this as well, just because it makes it a little bit easier. And that quantity per each that Matt was showing will give you the ability to just have one line, say 10, and then it will create 1 unit per each, is basically what that's going to do. So hopefully that answers your question, but we'll get into that in a second when we go through the purchase order process.
Yep, definitely. Thank you, Ben. And then again, just going through these last few panes on the rental unit card, we've got a rental history. So who was this item rented to? At what price did we rent that out? And then again, that return history, once it gets back from the customer, we'll have that related sales return order, and then a history of any work orders associated with this specific rental item here. Right, and then again, same as on that list view, we've got that purchase unit cost, when we bought it, who we bought it from, and then that related posted invoice number here. Looks like there was another question in the chat, but you've got it, Ben.
I'm just answering them in the chat here. We'll let you know if there's anything else that we need to discuss. The only other thing I saw in there that I think some clients have liked is we have the ability to do the rental unit number. So it can just be, if you have 3 different rentals like Matt has and you have barcodes, you can just do the first 3 are like, 1, 2, 3, and then a different unit could be 5, 6, 7. Or if you'd like to, you can set different number series up per rental item. So you could have iPad 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I don't remember what other items you had in there, Matt, but 2 different ways to do it. So some people like to just do it sequentially. They don't care, the next batch, if something comes in and it's a different type of item, they're just going to continuously go sequentially. Other people like to have the number mean something more and have it be, iPad 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, both options are there with the number series that we have available. So.
Yep. Absolutely. Then, all right, so now going into the purchase side, I'm going to go ahead and set up this fixed asset card. So again, you'll see I've got that general one for my iPads here. We're going to go ahead and also purchase some MacBook Pros to also rent out in this example here. 3, assign my fixed asset class and subclass here. Right, and then again, like Ben said, I could go ahead and just assign a depreciation book here with my method, start date, number of years, and ending date. Again, if I'm buying 10 of these, I could set up 10 different fixed asset cards, or in this example, I'm just going to set up 1 here and track the purchase of all 10 against this.
I think you'll need the rental. I would just throw in the rental unit and the start end date, Matt, just so.
Yep. Thank you.
Just so we don't run into any. I know we're probably not going to run depreciation in the demo, but just so down the road, if we try to do something in a future demo, we don't run into any issues there.
All right, so enter in my number here.
I'll just create a new one from scratch.
Yeah, it's weird. All right.
There we go. And I know we don't need the tax here, but for most clients, typically the units are either going to be taxable or not. You can throw those tax codes in there while Matt's setting this up. And then of course it'll use the combinations from like the customers and the items and things like that you're using for the rentals. So, I know taxability is probably a big hot topic these days. Everybody's trying to make sure they do it right. So we do have the ability to flag that there.
Absolutely. And then again, just entering in my default labor number. For this example, the labor associated with these is just going to be going in and cleaning them up and making sure nothing's damaged on a monthly basis. All right, and then again, assign my rental unit number series. Like Ben said, if I had a different one per rental item, I could assign that here as well. All right, back to my fixed asset card here. I'm going to go ahead and pick those MacBook Pros here. All right. So again, just going to create this purchase order, acquire these 10 MacBook Pros here. vendor. All right, so again here, my type will be fixed asset. I'll go ahead and pick that MacBook Pro fixed asset card that I just set up. And then here, I'll go ahead and select that rental item that's related to it. In this case, I'm purchasing 20 of them. We'll say those are 12. All right. So again, at the setup level, I think I had upon receipt create the rental items. I'm just going to do receive an invoice just to be safe. But again, you've got that control over when you want the physical rental item cards to be created, whether it be upon purchase or invoice. Or receive,
and if you have
invoice,
you have the receive and invoice, if you receive it at one price and the price obviously changes like a classic scenario, right? And then you invoice it at a different price, it will update the historical record in the rental unit to update the price to whatever was actually invoiced. So I know that's a lot of times people are receiving these quickly, going and putting them out at their customers' sites, and they might not have even received the invoice from the vendor yet. So just want to call that out.
Yep, definitely. All right, and then going back to my rental items here, you'll see now I've got 20 of those MacBook Pros. Again, all 20 of them are in-house. We haven't gone ahead and shipped any of those out to our customers yet. So again, to do that, I'm just going to go into a standard sales order here. Create a new one. All right. And here I'm going to go ahead and pick my customer number. In this example, I've got 3 different high schools that are local in the area. They're going to need some computers and iPads for orientation. So I'll go in here. Main thing to call out. So again, I'm on this sales order here. We've added a different type for rental item here. All right, I'll go ahead and pick that specific rental item. In this case, we're going to do 1 MacBook Pro and 1 iPad for them. At this point, if I'm going to be renting out a specific item, I could go ahead and enter that rental unit number here. But I can also do that when I actually dispatch this order and deliver it. So in the case that you don't care which specific item is going to the specific customer, you just want to drop them off and grab the first one that's in the truck and then assign it at that point, you could do that. But again, if I knew at this time what specific rental unit was going to them, I could go in and define that in this drop down here. Again, so I'll go ahead and enter my quantities here, doing 1 of each. And then again, that price is going to be drawn in based on the rental unit price that I had set up at the rental item card level. All right, so from here I've got 2 options. Like Ben said, this interfaces with a number of our other tools, one of which being Distribution Control Center. So if I needed to pick, pack, and ship this order, or pick, pack, and dispatch this order, I would release it to the warehouse, go through my standard Distribution Control Center process. For the sake of time in this case, I'm just going to create a dispatch directly from this sales order. All right, so I'll go ahead and release it. And then again, go ahead and create my dispatch to send this out to the customer.
And Matt, the way I've seen this used just for other folks that are on the phone, right? The difference is whether you're going to self-deliver these with your own trucks, right? And the dispatching piece, which if you've seen our dispatching videos or dispatch Toolbox Tuesday, we've gone through that whole process end to end. So I can link that here as well. Whereas if you just want to use DCC, you can pick, pack, and then ship it. If it's a computer, you might just be able to ship it to the school or whatever, like Matt's doing, and then they can ship it back. Or you can use a combination of both. You could pick and pack in DCC, and then you could deliver with dispatch management. So there's a bunch of ways to use all these tools together. And the rental management subscription comes with subscriptions to dispatch management, distribution control center, work orders, invoice and statement delivery, like all these other things that we're showing that you would need. So just to call that out, you wouldn't have to buy them all standalone. They'd all be bundled up.
Awesome.
Yeah, we've got one. Stefan has a example. He said he did a rental implementation 12 years ago, renting mobile cranes, tracking vehicle mileage, engine hours when working, hourly rates for idle time, insurance fees on site, driver daily hourly fee, mileage. We can get into some of that when we go over the work orders, but thinking thinking of some other tools probably that we have that could help track that as well, like some of the functions from our project management tool. So we'll talk about those in a second, Stefan, but also follow up after, because I think that's a great use case.
So, all right, so onto the delivery side, again, like Ben said, I'm showing the example where, again, I'm in Dallas. This is a local Dallas high school, so I'm going to go ahead and just drop this off. All right, so I've got my dispatch control center here. And again, you'll see down here, I've got my 2 high schools. So this one was just the iPads. This was one that I'd created before the call. And then down here, you'll see I've got my 2 rental items, the 1 MacBook Pro and the 1 iPad. I'm going to go ahead and assign a driver to both of these. All right, so go ahead, pick myself, and then go ahead and create this trip here. Again, what you're seeing is Dispatch Control Center, which is a separate extension that interfaces with rental management, but all included in that one bundle. I'm going to go ahead and calculate this trip. So this is going to take these 2 addresses as well as whatever address my company location is, and basically just create a trip for me to go from my current location to each of these 2 stops and then back to my current location here. Okay. So again, just printing that route sheet, that delivery checklist, as well as a delivery ticket here. All right. And then here you'll see both of these have been routed. It's going to go ahead and print those documents for me. And then, all right, so again, here's my delivery ticket. And then I will go ahead and dispatch this trip. So this is going to release it to the driver. In this case, it's myself, to go ahead and drop off these 2 orders here.
Quick question, Matt, that I'll address while you go through that. So Ra was asking, what happens if the customer keeps it for a month and a half and we're charging 28-day billing cycles or monthly billing cycles or something like that? So while that's loading, there's a few different ways you could do it, right? If you know that it's going to be a month and a half up front, you could bill them for that full month and a half on the sales order. Then you don't have to worry about anything. You could bill them a month at a time with our recurring invoicing, which Matt will show after we get this thing delivered, at which point you could bill a month and then bill a half a month if, again, you know that that's going to happen. Or you could bill either 2 months up front or a month at a time. And then if they decide to return it 14 days early, you could automatically credit them when we do a pickup order. It's just going to be a return order in Business Central. So at that time, if you put a dollar amount in, it'll issue a credit at that time. So bunch of different ways to probably accomplish the same thing. Everybody's scenarios, I'm sure you're aware, is quite different. So multiple different ways to manage that. But again, just depends on what you need, but there's ways to do that.
All right. So again, I've got my 2 deliveries here. I'll go ahead, drill into my first stop here at New Tech High School. All right. And then I've got the ability to enter an assignee name. So whoever I'm dropping this off for, in this case, we'll say Ben is the principal over there. I'm dropping him off for him. I'll go ahead, grab that rental item out, and then pick which specific rental unit number I'm dropping off there. I don't know if you saw because it was pretty quick, but it said requesting geolocation. So again, when I go in and pick that rental unit number, it's going to go in and grab my specific latitude and longitude of wherever I'm physically dropping this product off. Right. So again, I can come in and get a signature. The intended use of this page is for it to be on a tablet. So you would click this Get Signature and then have whoever you're dropping it off with physically enter their signature on that iPad there. In this case, I'm just doing it with my computer. All right, save that down, and then I'll go ahead and complete this delivery. All right, again, successfully delivered it. Click OK. It's going to request my location again to get the driver's last location. That's a function of dispatch management there. And then I'll go in and complete this second delivery as well. Rental units. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and complete the second delivery as well. All right, so now that those two have been dropped off, Sarah Ben, was there another question in the chat?
Yes, there are two questions. We've got, looks like they're both similar. Do you support 3x3 best pricing? And then Rob, and 3x3 pricing can be in arrears or in advance. So all the pricing that we have right now is going to be based on what Matt showed. So you can have the pricing matrix at the rental unit, and you can have different units of measure there. So if you need daily prices, weekly prices, monthly prices, you can do those in advanced or in arrears. And then from a customer standpoint, you can also have customer specific prices based on the units and the units of measure as well. So if a specific customer had a specific price, that would override the rental price. But Rob, I know that you wanted to chat on that more. Tom, I can loop you in on that conversation as well if we need any other pricing scenarios that you guys want to look at. So we'll be happy to chat on that. And as everybody probably knows, always looking for recommendations and product enhancements and improvements. So if there's anything we can do to enhance that pricing as well, we'd be happy to take a look.
Awesome. All right, so moving right along, I've got these two orders dropped off with my two rental units on one rental unit on the other. Back on this first one here, I'm going to go ahead and generate a work order. Like I said, this can be done for any type of work. In this case, it's going to be just a cleaning and inspection on a monthly basis. But should you need more specific labor, you can assign that at the work order as well. So again, you'll see I toggled on ready for work order. It's going to pull up my work order page here. This is going to be the default labor that I had set up. But again, at this point, I could go in and assign any additional labor as needed, right? Build out my description there. And then again, down on this work order, you'll see there's a section for rental units. So it'll give me that rental item unit number, that specific location on the Google map. So in the case that this is a large site, maybe a college campus, and I dropped it off at one specific building, this would go ahead and give me that pinpoint accuracy of where that was dropped off. Right. And then again, in the case that I had this on a weekly or monthly basis, I could go ahead and turn this into a recurring work order. In this case, if it was weekly, it would be 7 days. And we'll say we'll end this at the end of the year before they go on break there. Right. So again, this is going to build out my work order here. My scheduled start date, this is 8/24. If you recall back on the setup level, I had 30 days out from that drop-off date. And this is going to be 8/24 just because in this sandbox, my work date here is 7/25. And I forgot to update that before the demo. But again, defaulting based off of that setup level here. And then I can go ahead and release that work order. And in 30 days here, it'll come due for that technician to go and do the inspection and cleaning of that rental item. All right.
it frees up on us. Let's see if there's any other questions while you do that. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, it looks like it's good now.
Perfect. Yeah, wouldn't be a good live demo without a little freezing.
No other questions at the moment though, so we're good.
Perfect. And then the last piece on the sales order, so like Ben said, you can go ahead and save this as a recurring order. Right. So again, I'll enter in my recurring frequency here. We'll say every 1 month. We're going to go ahead and create these recurring documents. Again, if you saw our ISD Toolbox Tuesday or any of our other ISD materials, this shouldn't be new to you. But again, your options here for the posting. The system can either create them and leave them open, create the documents and release them, or create them and post them automatically. Right, and then I'll just enter in my next occurrence here. Keep forgetting my work date is back in July. Again, it's going to default out to 1 month based on that recurring frequency. Oh, I'm freezing up again.
Yeah, and for this, the occurrence date is going to mimic that document date, and the posting date is obviously going to be the posting date. But if you needed a different document date to generate before the actual posting of it, or the actual posting date for financial purposes, you can do so there as well.
Call out there. All right, and then I'll just click OK, and that's going to go ahead and create this recurring document for me. All right. So again, this is the recurring side. You'll see it's open here. All of those settings that I just selected back on the last page get brought into the actual recurring document here. All right, on to the customer side. So here I'm just going to show the interface for rental items at the customer level, as well as the process for going in and picking those items back up once the customer is ready to return them. All right. Nice and slow in the sandbox today. All right, so again, I've got my one customer here, the W.H. Adamson High School. Go ahead and drill into this customer card. All right, so you'll see I've got a page here for my current rentals. So again, I've got 2 iPads at this customer right now. Again, it'll bring in that history of the vendor that it was purchased from, when it was purchased, the related fixed asset, all of the information that we have about that rental item here. All right, then I can drill in and actually see the physical rental unit card as well. All right, and then from here, once they're ready to return these, I would go in, select functions, and create my return order.
There's a quick question, Tom, from that happens, Matt. Does the recurring sales order stay open as long as the rental is open and let you bill on the recurring basis, or are you required to create a new order for each recurring billing? So the recurring sales order will automatically generate a new invoice each time it needs to recur. So if you're doing 1 month or 28 days or 1 week, there was different options. You can create and leave it open, or create and release it, or create and post it. So let's say you're using the create and post option. If you were to create and post it, that would happen automatically. It would push it out 28 days from now to do it again. And then again, behind the scenes, it's just going to be creating those and automatically posting those. A lot of people, as they're getting started, will create and leave them open just so they can see kind of manually how it should work. Make sure nothing's incorrectly posting. Obviously, automating a bad process is just going to cause more problems. So make sure that the sales orders have what you want on them. when they're posting to the invoices. And then each time it will post, it'll record those new invoices. And then it will also record the rental units that's on there. So if you were ever look at a rental unit history, you could see every time it's been invoiced, every time it's been delivered, picked up, every time it's been serviced, all that kind of stuff. So, Rob, what happens if you accidentally delete the invoice? Will it remember that the current period has not been billed? So it would depend on if you've deleted it from the once it's been generated, or if you delete the whole recurrence in general. If you delete the whole recurrence in general, you'll have to recreate it. There's not a way it's automatically going to remember if you've deleted the whole occurrence. If you delete the one-time invoice before it's posted, you'd have to recreate the one-time invoice, but it would not delete the schedule.
Perfect. All right, so back to the return process. Again, I went into functions, created my return order. System's going to prompt me with a message that return order has been created, and to go to that sales return order page to review and dispatch that if needed. All right. And so, like we had mentioned, in this case, you could either just do the standard BC process of the customer ships that iPad or that MacBook back to you and you record it using the sales return order, or in the case that you're local, we've also got an interface into dispatch management on the sales return side. All right, so in here, I'll go ahead and create my dispatch. This is basically going to just prompt me to go back to this customer's site and pick up that item.
And here, Rob and Tom, was where you could do the cost or the credits back, right? So we just have it default to 0, but if it was partially through a billing cycle, that's just user defined. You can put whatever you want there to give them a credit back for maybe any unused days.
All right. So again, I've got this sales return order. The only difference here is, again, it's not a sales order where I'm dropping it off, but a return order where I'm going to go to that customer site and then bring that back to whatever my company location is here. All right, but same exact process. I'll assign my driver. And in this case, I'm only doing the pickup as my only stop in this trip. But again, if I had 3 other places that I was making deliveries and then this was on the way and I had a pickup, you could have any number of pickups and drop-offs within an individual trip here. Right. In this case, I'm just not going to print any of these documents, but it's going to be exactly the same as just a standard dispatch sales order. And I will go ahead and dispatch that here. Again, you'll just see that type is sales return order instead of sales order. I'll go in here, enter the signee's name that I'm picking this up from.
I should call out, Matt, while you're on that signature piece. We got people who will use iPads or Surface Pros or any sort of tablet. Technically, you can use the phone app. I don't love using the phone app just because the screen is so small, but works really well on tablets where you can get the driver sign off, get the signature, take a picture, all that kind of stuff. Scan barcodes, various things.
All right, so I've gone ahead and completed that pickup. And then if I were to go back to my rental item here, Oh, one thing I forgot to do is actually post that from Dispatch Control Center.
Yeah, a couple other questions I can answer while you go back and do that to finalize the process, Matt. So pricing, yes. Again, that return would be user defined right now. So if there's any other suggestions, we're happy to take a look at that. It looks like there's some comments about potentially auto calculating the return amounts to prorations and things like that. So happy to take a look at those after the call. And then Rob was asking Matt if we could see how this looks on the invoice. So maybe we could just print the invoice copy after this is all said and done. But Rob, from your standpoint, you're going to be able to use any of the out of box formats or customize the formats. I know most of the time people are using customized formats just because of the formats out of box are lackluster to say the least, right? So you're able to, since it's just printing off of a out of box sales order, sales invoice, those types of things, you're able to use all those fields. Really, the only additional field we've entered in there is the actual rental unit number. But the descriptions and everything else, just want to see the details that are available. Gotcha. Yep, we can print one of those out for you.
All right, I think this one here. Can I print it directly from here, Ben?
Yes, yeah, you should be able to.
I'm just send an email, but this will be quicker.
Yep, and I don't know what, we're probably just using the RDL report here, so it probably doesn't have a lot of customized fields, but again, it's just going to be a basic sales invoice there. Can you expand on that question? I see one about, can you zoom on posted sales line page inspection? Just what you're looking for there. So all these fields would be on the page inspection since they're part of the table on the page. So if you're looking for the rental unit or anything like that, all of that would be tracked there. And again, this is just one of the invoice formats. So it's showing you that you've got that MacBook Pro, $800, iPad, $400. So again, if you need to customize that, you can do so, but that's just the out of box sales invoice that we're looking at here. The posted sales line page. Yeah, from the posted sales line page, you can run a page inspection and all those additional rental fields would be there.
Yeah, for the sake of time, I won't go into that. Yeah, I know we're brushing right up against we're
right at
the 45-minute mark, so I'll go ahead and yep, we'll go ahead and pass this back to you, Ben.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you for the live demo. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to Matt or myself. Our emails are just either Matt or Ben at erpconnectconsulting.com. So feel free to reach out to either of us via email. But let's talk next steps real quick. So what we find to work the best is typically people download that 30-day free trial. If you're a partner, feel free to download it into your demo environment. If you're an end user, feel free to copy your production down to a sandbox and download this there and play around with it. If you need help doing that, we're always happy to help. Your partner should be able to help as well with that and getting you set up in those sandbox environments. So I'm going to drop a link, 2 links actually. The first one being to our website where you can download those products, as well as AppSource. Again, both these pages are going to have similar information. You can go to either of them in order to get those 30-day free trials downloaded. And I'll also put in our activation video link, which will allow you to generate those demo keys and get your 30-day free trial. So outside of that, we've got our product page. And AppSource will have summaries, screenshots, user guides, setup guides. So all that's going to be in the links that I sent. Just some additional information. We'll also link this video to that page as soon as I've got that recording processed here, probably in the next day or two. Our YouTube channel, put a link to that in the chat as well. Not only is that going to have our Toolbox Tuesday recordings, but it's going to have a handful of different videos for our apps. We have about 30 apps on AppSource right now, so there'll be videos on all of those out there, as well as just some general Business Central training, right? If you're looking for some more BC info, we've got a bunch of different things out there on our YouTube channel. And then the final piece that I'm going to drop in the chat here is our product guide. Would highly recommend taking a look at that. If you're going to be at Summit upcoming here in about 2 months, we'll have some of these printed out as well. What this is going to give you is it's going to give you a fit gap analysis of every single app that we have to offer, as well as standard configuration and training time, so that you can get an idea of what all is involved in deploying one of these tools, right? I think rental management is about 10 hours end to end to get it all set up. And then there might be a few additional hours to get like the financial dashboard and invoice and statement delivery set up with it. But all of that's going to be available in that ebook. And with that, we've got a Q&A, but I think most people asked their questions and we attempted to answer them to the best of our abilities. We'll follow up on a few of those after the call as well, but really just appreciate the engagement on the session today. And if anybody has any additional questions, feel free to reach out to Matt or myself. And we look forward to seeing you again in about 2 weeks on our next Toolbox Tuesday. So thanks, everybody, and have a great day.